We are ready to start with our awards, which is the purpose of us coming here tonight. We have a great privilege tonight. We have a special guest who's here. He was here last year, and some of you already may know him. He loves South Africa greatly. Mr. Peter Greenberg, who's going to do the awards for us. Can we give him a round of applause?
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Stu, for the introduction that I wrote myself. The sign says it's possible, and I wanted to share a story with you because you mentioned the Western Cape, so I have to tell you the story. Many years ago, I was in Cape Town, and I was giving a speech at the Mount Nelson for Virtuoso, and we had about 1,000 people in the room, and I said, it's time to start thinking outside the box. It's time to show your clients what you can achieve as an experience in South Africa. And when I finish speaking today, I'm going out to the airport because I found that there's a British Strike Master fighter jet that I can get in and for less than $400, run around for 2 hours, go down to the Cape and back in 8 minutes, zip up and down the Western Cape. Who wants to go with me? And I'm not asking you guys, I'm telling this story. Did you see how many hands just went up in the room? And I said, who wants to go with me? And everybody said, no, we're just going to stay here and have high tea. So I went out to the airport. You don't know what's coming yet. I went out to the airport and I strapped into this pressure suit with the pilot on the left side. I was flying the right seat. And sure enough, we went down to the Cape and back in 8 minutes. And then he said, we've got another hour and 20 minutes of fuel left. What do you want to do? I went, let's call the tower and see if they're in a really good mood. And they were in an exceptionally good mood. And while everybody from Virtuoso was having their high tea at the Mount Nelson, we turned on the afterburner, came in, strafed the hotel, broke half the windows, all the glasses. The next day, 25 Virtuoso agents showed up at the Cape Town airport to fly that jet. And what's interesting about that was it ended up being on the front page of USA Today as one of their most exceptional travel experiences of their life that they then recommended to their clients. So it's not only possible, it happened, and I didn't have to pay the damage bill. There's an interesting thing about this year, right? It was explosive, it was incendiary, it was a roller coaster ride, but enough about Charlie Sheen. But in travel, it really was as well. We saw a wake-up call in terms of the public's perception of the importance of travel and tourism. That wake-up call happened in Egypt because you saw the Facebook and the Twitter revolution and basically a government leave in record moments of time. But what you didn't see, unless you were in the travel industry, was how fast they got the travel infrastructure back up and running because of how important it was. It was the economic driver of that country and so many other countries. You mentioned the 8.5% GDP and going up to 10. It's going up to 10. It's going to exceed 10. We didn't need a volcano erupting in Iceland to let us know how important travel and tourism was, or an oil spill in the Gulf. And yet, yes, we did. Because as the minister said, our country is completely, I'm embarrassed to tell you, ignorant about the power of travel and tourism. There's a reason why we don't have a cabinet-level minister of tourism in this country, because nobody's figured it out yet. They haven't figured it out yet. Last year, for those of you who are here, I gave you a statistic. Do you remember what the statistic was about how many Americans had passports? It was 26%. That's it. You know what it is today? 26%. Do you remember the second statistic I gave you last year? How many members of the United States Congress, Senate, and House of Representatives have passports? 40%. We're electing people to basically make global strategy, and they've never left Kansas? I think, but there's a silver lining here, because I really think we should take up a collection in this room tonight and get every senator and congressman a passport so they can actually go to South Africa. Although some of them think that you need a visa just to go to Hawaii. That's another issue. But you mentioned 23% growth. And that 23% growth factor, when you put that into perspective, where you have only 26% of Americans having passports and you have a 23% growth factor, what does that tell you? That the smart Americans who are smart enough to have passports are smart enough to go to South Africa. How about that? And they actually did something else. They probably went out and bought a map. What a concept, right? So here we are with a society which transcends all the demographics when it comes to travel. Why is that? Because travel is not something that we just want to do. Travel is something that we need to do. It's part of our cultural DNA. My parents, well, they booked travel the way they were waiting for the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. We don't do it that way. We think travel's our birthright. And we don't just go once every 2 weeks for 2 years. We go once every 7 days. We just don't call it travel. We call it a business trip. Oh, and I have to have some fun. That's where the silver lining is. Once you can get over the perceptions of where South Africa is, what it isn't, and what it basically provides, it's a win-win-win situation. And that's what we're here to do tonight, to celebrate the people who have helped everybody here win. And there are a lot of winners here tonight. And it's called the Ubuntu Awards, as you know. And I'm here to be honored enough to basically share those with you and to give them away. So let's get started. South African Tourism's Ubuntu Award for the top producing tour operator is presented to the company that generated the largest number of visitors to South Africa in 2010. Now, the winner has played a pivotal role in helping South African tourism achieve one of the key mandates. And we go back to that 23% growth factor, increasing the arrival of visitors from the United States. We don't have one winner tonight, we've got two. And the performance of two tour operators has been so exceptional that, guess what, we're recognizing both of them. So ladies and gentlemen, our first winner this evening for top producing tour operator are Lion World Tours. And while you come up here, I'm going to say a few things about you. Can I do that? Managing two brands, including South African Airways Vacations throughout 2010, Lion World Tours has been impressive with its efforts to look outside the box and find innovative ways to package its products to attract a larger U.S. audience. Listen to this. For over 40 years, Lion World Tours has demonstrated its destination expertise. I didn't say you. Come on, wait a minute. Becoming one of North America's largest agencies for Africa, and today, one of South African Airways' largest consolidators. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome and honor Lucille Siv. Now, Lucille shares this award tonight with our other top producing tour operator, and they are Premier Tours. And while Julian comes up here, let me tell you about Premier Tours. They are a leading seller of South Africa year after year under the leadership of its president, Julian Harrison. Premier Tours has been recognized in Condé Nast Traveler magazine as a South African specialist, recommended by Farmer's Travel Guide, and listed in Travel and Leisure magazine's A-list of top travel specialists. They arrange everything from camping safaris to high-profile celebrity trips, and even sponsors the annual trip given to nominees at the prestigious Oscar Academy Awards. I've heard of those. Would you please welcome Julian Harrison. By the way, in the video that you saw earlier of The Bachelor, how many people watched that show? Okay. How many women watched that show? Okay. How many women were pissed off that he didn't pick any of them? Oh, you know what? The first, I know. Okay, but you got to watch, though. That was the cool part. And who told me? You told me this tonight, right? The biggest response you ever got was because of that show, right? Amazing. South Africa Tourism's Ubuntu Award for the top travel management company is presented to the company that is focused on creating custom itineraries in partnership with the best DMCs on the ground in South Africa. And this year's recipient, and somebody I know very well, is Pro Travel International. Founded in 1984 by this woman, Priscilla Alexander, Pro Travel International is a full-service dynamic retail travel company. Now, it says in my notes, and the notes are wrong. It says with annual sales approaching the $600 million mark, Priscilla, who's not shy and who's my dinner mate tonight, told me that number was wrong. This year they will approach the $800 million mark. And in fact, it ranks among the top privately held agencies in the United States, supporting a network, get this, 22 separate locations. Over 550 people make up the pro-travel family. In response to the increasing demand from discriminating travelers, Priscilla founded Pro Africa. It's a division of Pro Travel International. Where are you going, Priscilla? Come back over here. I'm not done with you yet. You know why we talk about the family of travel? This woman, 4 daughters and 11 grandchildren, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Now we can applaud Priscilla Alexander. South Africa Tourism's Ubuntu Award for Creative Marketing is bestowed on the tour operator who sets the standard for showcasing South Africa in the most appealing way. And this year's recipient is To Africa. Where are you? Born from an insatiable desire to keep Africa affordable, founder and president Kenneth Heber's To Africa, Inc. opened its doors to the American traveler in the summer of 1995. And in 1995, that means they opened with humble beginnings. But the company has evolved into a multi-million-dollar corporation in just a little over a decade. In addition to the successful To Africa and Gay To Africa tour operator brands, To Africa has broken through the clutter of internet marketing, not easy to do, with creative marketing efforts in social media portals, including the popular To Africa blog, One Voice from Africa, and Another Country Through My Eyes. Please welcome and honor Kenneth Heber. Thank you, sir. South African Tourism Ubuntu Award for Outstanding Achievement in Innovative Programs goes to Advantage International. Now, Advantage International is an event and destination management company founded by Gene and Javon Harley. They bring a combined total of 45 years of experience in event management, broadcasting, marketing, and of course, travel. Since its inception, Advantage International has organized events and travel services to the private sector, local and federal governments, ABC Radio, CBS Radio, thank you very much, Clear Channel Communications, Radio 1, and numerous independent stations. Gene also is the executive producer of The Traveling Eye, a 1-hour weekly travel show on WVON, 1690 AM, The Talk of Chicago. And as co-host of The Traveling Eye, Javon's Travel Minute educates travelers on how to get the best travel experience and also features shows on destinations such as, guess what, South Africa. Please welcome and honor Gene and Javon Harley. Thank you, Virginia. Wasn't that what? Can we have an applause for Virginia here, please? Wow. Wow, big applause. All right. South Africa Tourism's Ubuntu Award for Cultural Tours goes to Easy Tours and Andela Edwards. Where are you? Here she comes. She started working in her family business, Easy Tours, in 1985, designing cultural tours for Americans on a quest to visit Africa. And in 1985, believe me, that was a quest. The majority of her clients have been African Americans wishing to know more about the continent of their ancestral heritage. Easy Tours' philosophy is to create cultural tours designed for Americans to travel to Africa and fall in love. Please welcome and honor Andela Edwards. Now, tonight we're also recognizing 2 companies for outstanding achievement in destination promotion, both of whom, since making a commitment to the U.S. business tourism market, have been outstanding ambassadors, investing in representation in market, and introducing thousands of corporate delegates to the wonders of South Africa. Outstanding achievement in destination promotion by a DMC goes to Tusker Tours and Dragonfly America. Now, Tusker Tours is passionate about South. I'm reading this. It says Tusker Tours is passionate about South Africa. I think we're all passionate about South Africa, right? Please, okay. But Laura is especially passionate about South Africa and strives to get her clients to see beyond the coffee table book, because there's so much more than the coffee table book. They believe a trip to Africa is to feel the real Africa, and you know what? They do. They've done it since 1994, and they continue to do it. Please welcome and honor Laura Howell. And where are you, Philippa? Oh, you're there, okay. I didn't. In the 15 years that the DMC Group has represented this company in the U.S., they have run 123 programs, but who's counting, to South Africa from the U.S. and Canada. From these, they have won 4 Site Crystal Awards, including Most Creative Use of an Incentive, Best Incentive Travel Program, Outstanding, I love this one. Somebody has to explain this one to me. Outstanding Sustainable Motivational Experience. Does that mean they're still happy? Okay. And trip delivery of 5 nights or more. Please welcome and honor Philippa Durant. The next Ubuntu Award for Best Airline Partner goes to Emirates. What was that? What was that? And here to receive the award is Michael Page, Vice President of Sales. Emirates is well known for leading market trends and being first at a lot of things, including personal entertainment systems in all seats, as well as those private first-class seats. And if you've never experienced them, they're pretty wild. They were among its many notable firsts. It was also the first airline to, I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, but they were the first airline to offer their passengers a facility to use their cell phones, bolstering its in-flight services, which are already heralded for the popular ICE entertainment and communication system. And let me tell you about their entertainment system. You get on one of their planes. First of all, you're sitting in that suite. Anybody fly them? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. You're sitting in, Priscilla, of course. How did I know? You sit in that suite with a 19-inch screen in a louvered door, and you're saying, wait a minute, there are 500 channels of on-demand television? How long is this flight? And you know what? You don't care after a while. You're just having fun. Right. And when you want to eat, you pick up the phone and do what? You call room service. You guys are out of control. Anyway, please honor, from Emirates, Michael Page. The next Ubuntu Award for Philanthropic Achievement goes to Reservations Africa and Marianne Schaubeck. Now, I am not going to read anything here. You know why? Because I'm going to ask Marianne to come up here for a second. No, come over here. I have a surprise for you. Marianne, keep kissing. Come on. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Come on. Come. Earlier tonight at dinner, she shared a story with me that was so amazing, you need to hear it, about her first trip to South Africa. Hit it.
Had I known I'd been speaking, I wouldn't have had wine. So this goes without saying that I might be slurring my words, but I was telling Peter and Priscilla that my first trip to South Africa was in 1980, and I was a retail travel agent, and I'd been invited down on a FAM. And I thought an apartheid government was a party. I thought it was the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. And after flying for 2 days and arriving in Johannesburg is when I found out what apartheid meant. So how's that for an education? But I do want to say one thing now that I've got 2 microphones. The purpose of my life has become our charity called African Preschools. And I would say to anybody, if you ever want to be touched in your soul, help South Africa in the rural areas, because honestly, those people are the most wonderful people. And they give way more back to you than what I've given to them. And it's been such an honor, and I love South Africa so much. I would like to have a South African passport. Thank you.
No, Mary, you have to come back and have a picture now, because this is going to go on your passport. and the recipient of the South African Tourism Ubuntu Award for Leadership, epitomizes the energy and drive characteristic of the best marketers. The awardee is the president of United States Soccer, Mr. Suni Gulati. And Mr. Minister, if you will do the honors for me, Suni, come up here and please get your award. Sunil, come up here. Sunil, and you got to come up here and talk.
You want me to talk?
Absolutely, come on, Sunil. Oh, I'll hold this chair.
We're all different. You said you wouldn't have had some wine if you knew you were going to talk. I would have had some wine if I knew I was going to talk. So, Stu mentioned earlier that she wanted me to say a few words, so I'm going to do that. They didn't show that video from the World Cup, that wonderful theme song video, and I'm actually very thankful for that. So whenever that video comes up, you get memories of South Africa, and it's emotional and so on. But once I was at a function, and I went home after that video, the famous Shakira video that you've all seen, and I was quiet. I was kind of in the mood of South Africa, and I must have been tapping my foot. My wife said, you know, where are you? What's going on? I said, nah, just thinking. She goes, well, what's on your mind? Shakira. Not a good answer. So I'm glad we didn't play that video tonight. I also want to thank South Africa because since I left South Africa, the U.S. team has only won one game, and that was against South Africa in November, so thank you for that. But actually, on a much more serious note, when Stu told me I was going to speak, or asked me to speak, I started thinking about some of my relationship with the country and my family's relationship with the country. And in some ways, it goes back to when I was a student at Columbia, and now I teach at Columbia. And Bishop Tutu was speaking at the university, and this was in the middle of the divestiture issues. It was the mid-'80s. And I remember something he said, I had 15 years later told him that had been a moving speech and had words that had stuck with me. And the essence of it was, you know, we will get our freedom at some day, and we will remember those who were our friends. And I think about the relationships going forward, both at a personal level. And then I think back to 1996, and I was married. My wife is here. We were married in 1996. And a month later, because the honeymoon, the real honeymoon, which lasted 3 days because it was a soccer game to go to, so we went a month later to South Africa and landed in Cape Town on Christmas Day and drove around the Cape with another couple of dear friends. A 60-year-old Jewish man, a 40-year-old German woman. My wife was Mexican and Indian American, and we fit right in, it seemed, with everyone else there. And it is by far the most memorable vacation day, if you can call it a vacation day, because it was heaven driving around the Cape that day. And then someone asked me recently, what's your best memory in the game? And I said, well, it's probably two. And then I realized the two are within 12 hours of each other, and they were both in South Africa. One was on the field when Landon Donovan scored a goal in extra time for us, and we beat Algeria and therefore advanced in the World Cup. And that was at 10 o'clock or so in Rustenburg. And roughly 12 or 14 hours later, President Clinton walked my family in to meet Madiba. So that was about as good as it gets, which was just incredible. So as I think about, you know, the thank you from the tourism board and the country for the thousands of Americans that came. First, you're undercounting because we have a whole bunch of people that we can undercount everything right here. But we bought a lot of tickets for games that involve the U.S. So lots of people came with Mexican passports and Italian passports from the U.S. So if they were checking off the box that residents, I guess it was covered. So we didn't need to sell them on that. The game did that. Your country did that. What the country has done in the last 20 years did that. And everything that many of you in this room, especially those that are affiliated with the government and tourism, did that. And from my perspective, you don't need to market me anymore. We'll be back. It was, you know, part of that increase in GDP was definitely my family and my wife, geared appropriately with a Visa card, sponsor, of course. The Michelangelo.
Everywhere you wanted it to be?
It was nowhere where I wanted to be, that's right. And we had a spectacular visit, not just the football, but really getting in touch with the country a little bit. And we haven't gotten in touch with it enough. So we'll be back. I want to thank all of you for honoring us and those of my countrymen that came to the World Cup. We didn't do you any favors. You did us a great favor by putting on a spectacular party. So thank you for that.
Before Marianne gets her South African passport, I wanted to share one story with you that goes back to the days of apartheid as well, because when I first went to South Africa, I needed a visa. And I went to the I know we have some consul generals here, so I hope you'll appreciate this. I went to the South African consulate here in New York and gave them my passport and filled out the forms. And I actually still have that old passport because I'll always remember that they actually endorsed it with a very interesting inscription on the visa. I'm not making this up. It said, "Cannot write anything negative about South Africa."
Judy Pillay. Yeah. Maya George. David Di Gregorio. Justin Burnett. And Virginia Dionisio. These are the people who make it happen. These are the people who day by day work so hard to put South Africa on the map, and I'm so privileged to work with the team that is just the most rigorous, the most amazing to work with, but the most passionate also about South Africa. Thank you so much.